up, everyone? Welcome to Three Chicks in the Pod. Um, it is we are going to recap the draft, the NFL draft last week, and then we have a couple of other topics we're going to talk about a little bit. We do have a guest, but he stepped away for just a second. How's everybody's week going?
Really good. How about yours?
It's okay. It's okay.
Carrie
It
gives a
has been.
snarl.
I give a smile. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay. All right, Steve. How's your week
It's
been?
Tuesday, and during the week when days start before they should be allowed to, they're not my favorite. Just going to put that out. I'm a night owl that has to live in an early morning world.
Right. Definitely so. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Steve, talk to us about what your Giants did during the draft.
Yeah. First of all, just real quick, it is an honor to be on this podcast. Really happy to be with all of you guys. So thank you. And yes, I'm wearing my Giant stuff, mainly just to upset Megan Price as we are division rivals. Because we are still kind of in basketball mode. I'll see you on Thursday, Megan. Yeah, we're still kind of in basketball mode. But the Giants draft, listen, you can't really officially rank drafts until probably 2 to 3, sometimes 4, but really 2 to 3 years after it. That's when you really find out whether it was actually a good draft or not. But obviously, everybody's going to come out with their rankings right away and all that stuff. I get it. It's something to talk about. And the next gen stats looks good for the Giants because if you average the next gen stats for all of the teams for their 7 draft picks, the Giants were actually third behind the Lions, 81%. I live in Michigan, so I'm going to hear a whole lot about that for the next couple months. And then the Titans, and then the Giants, and then actually the Jets, which is fun. As a Giants fan, I love Rod. Let me just quickly say, I love Rodgers going to the Jets because I know that that's going to be where the focus is. And let's be honest, it's just better when you fly under the radar. Last year was better than I thought they were going to be. I didn't expect them to make the playoffs, let alone win a playoff game. So I was happy about that. Now talking about the draft, to me, they cleared up some holes. Deontay, the corner from Maryland in the first round, and with all their corners, actually, they drafted 3 corners in the 7 picks, and all of them were at least 6 foot. Deontay is 6'2", 205, which to me is kind of like high CC Lamb. Yeah, specifically, hey, we have to deal with A.J. Brown. Like, we have to deal with bigger receivers. We don't want a 5'10", 185-pound corner, right? So I feel like that dealt with the need. In the second round, they got their center, which I'm sorry. I can't not sing John Jacob, Jimbo Michael Schmidt every time I talk about him. But yeah, John Michael Schmidt, the center from Minnesota. To improve their offensive line, which they also did today by picking up the option for Andrew Thomas. They need a receiver. They got one in Jalen Hyatt in Tennessee. Eric Gray and running back in Oklahoma. Maybe, hopefully, will just be a little, lightning every now and again. Obviously, Saquon still hasn't signed his tender. 3 chicks and Steve Schwanda. What up, Dom?
Hi, Dom.
What up, Dom?
Troublemaker.
But yeah, I think that was a decent pick. Basically, it's like I feel, and I don't know how you guys feel about your teams. I like when my team is heavy on Power 5 conference teams, right? Like major like when you see, Maryland, and of course Maryland's not good, but Minnesota, but Big Ten, right? But if you see like Big Ten, SEC, Pac, Big 12, Pac-12, like if that's who you're drafting, I just feel like that's a little bit of a nicer feeling. So overall, I felt good about it, but yeah, I won't feel good at all if they, win 5 games next year and take a step back. So right now, obviously there's upbeat, but it's always concerning at this point and also positive at this point because everybody talks themselves into, like Jalen Hyatt, like, oh, he's going to be you know, he's going to be Daniel Jones' newest weapon from Tennessee. You know, he's 6 foot, he's 185. He's kind of more of a deep threat. We all know the kind of, you know, dumpster fire that was the receiving core last year for the Giants.
Right.
You know, so obviously that was a position of need. Originally, I wanted them to go receiver in the first round, but they were at 24. And receivers went, if I'm not, I don't have it in front of me, so I apologize. But I think receivers went like 20, 21, 22, and 23. Like there was like a run of receivers right before the Giants picked. So like, well, next best thing, we got to recover those receivers. Let's get a corner. So it was still a position of need, but they still need a true number one receiver. And of course, pre-draft, you know, you heard all the rumors of, you know, a Cooper Kupp possibly traded the Giants and this and that.
Hi, Candy.
Yeah, like obviously none of it happened, but like all in all, I'm happy right now, and we'll see.
Okay. Okay. So for the Cowboys, when I've heard the first pick, I wasn't super enthused. It was not a knock to what Michigan did last season or anything like that, because obviously they had a really great postseason. They didn't get as far as they wanted to, but they had a really great season. So it definitely wasn't a knock to that. It was more position wise. Like I just really, really wanted some protection for Dak. Yeah. Our line is aged. I love Zach Martin. I love the pieces that we have, but the facts are they're getting older. They're missing a step or two, you know. So that was what I wanted. But the more the first round pick kind of marinated on me, the more I was like, okay, I like this. I like it a lot. We were 22nd in pass or in rush defense last season. So this is a glaring hole, and this will absolutely open things up for the rest of our defense. Secondly, I felt like the way we drafted defensively, not only in the first round, but majority of the draft for us, lets me know that Mike McCarthy may not even make it the entire season. To me, it says they went with whatever Dan Quinn wanted to draft, except for maybe our sixth pick. That was kind of like a family-oriented pick, in my opinion. And in fact, his dad got to call him. He was a scouting agent for them.
Cool moment. Yeah,
right.
Cool moment, but yeah.
Very, 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 very cool that he was able to say, you know, hey, son, you want to come to work with me? And I thought that was really sweet. And also Jerry's comments to him after that was just that, you know, that everybody was very emotional about it and that they were just so happy to have him as a part of their squad. I know that a lot of the fans wanted us to draft a tight end in the first round, and we got picked off right before the tight end that we wanted to get got picked off right before we were able to get him. So do I think that? But I personally did not think that we needed a tight end in the first round. Not in the first round. Of course, we need a little depth. We lost Schultz, so we're going to need at least 1 to 2 more. But we have Hendershot and we have Ferguson, and both of them are very, very good. So I don't know if they're going to be Hall of Fame tight ends like we're used to having at that position, and maybe that's where the discrepancy is. You know, Witten and others have been at that position and they've been Hall of Famers. So I guess that's right. And so we're used to having that at that position, and maybe that's where the fans are kind of like, okay, we need to draft a tight end. But Hendershot and Ferguson are very good. I don't see, in fact, I think Hendershot has like an 86 point something completion rate. So I didn't see the need, but the one we got in the second round, I really like him too. So and then there was no reason to take a tight end around one. Exactly. And then also as we talk about, there was not a ton of receivers in this draft either, but there were a ton of corners. So if you have good development, you could just switch them over to the other side of the ball. Like plenty of cornerbacks have gone to receivers or vice versa. Like that is a position that is interchangeable. And so if you have good coaching staff and if you have good trainers, you're able to do that. And just kind of address your needs where you need it if that draft class did not particularly have what you wanted. And then also I see a lot of people that were talking about Overshaw. And while I am a huge Texas fan, y'all know that, he is a little inconsistent. And so I I think that getting him in the third round was a little bit of a reach. That was kind of my opinion on that. We did address a couple of other needs, but we didn't do a whole lot for that line. So I'm nervous for my quarterback, to be honest. So we shall see how it goes. And but overall, I was not upset by this draft. But going into the draft, I also felt like there really wasn't a whole lot that they could have done that I wouldn't have been happy about, because there are some needs in pretty much everywhere. They could have gone a backup quarterback and I'd have been okay with that too, because I would much rather address the issue a year or two ahead of time and have that person waiting and training and learning under somebody else that's a little more experienced, whether you like them or not. And instead of having a glaring need of, oh, I didn't have a quarterback for 2 seasons and now we got to draft one and we got to take them really high and we don't know what's going to happen with that. I would much rather have I would have liked if we could have got Hendon Hooker, to be perfectly honest, as one of our backups. So we know next year's draft class is not going to be QB heavy. It's not going to be a good draft class. So obviously we're not going to be drafting Dak's replacement next year. Or not a good one anyway. So
right.
That's my opinion.
You're not going to get Caleb Williams. Like it's not. Yeah, you're not going to get 1 or 2. So you're not going to get Caleb Williams.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So, all right, Jen.
Okay, so really good to recap both of y'all. So we kind of had a really uneventful, draft, kind of boring.
Right. Hardly anything happened exciting for your team.
Right.
I was so
yeah, we're not, but we're too mediocre for that. Like we're not bad enough to get Caleb Williams, and we're not a great team, but I think we're too good for that. And that sounds conceited, but it's not.
Megan, can I tell you what happened? In 1996, during the division playoff game held at then Ericsson Stadium, the Carolina Panthers put a whooping on Deion Sanders, made him too scared to ever get hit again, and that's the last time y'all went deep in the playoffs when we beat y'all. I love you. I think we put a curse on you.
I was 11 years. I was 11 years old. Do y'all remember whenever the NFL scripts came out, the post about it, and they had all the I guess it was on Instagram, I think, and they got to the Cowboys script, and it was Tyrese crying, talking about, what more do you want from me, because we got the same script 26 seasons in a row. So yeah, I get it.
Can I just say that I love that 2 best friends are fighting on our page right now? I love bringing unity, Tyler and Dom. I love it. Thank you.
That's funny. Okay, I'm done. Go ahead, Jen.
Okay, so we picked some unknown quarterback, Bryce Young, in the first round. Don't know if you guys have heard of him or not.
Yeah, has he ever played any high-level games? Or
I know he never won a natty, but everybody blames that.
I can't remember.
Right.
That being said, this is what I'm going to say about Bryce Young, because everybody knows about Bryce Young. Everybody's been following he and CJ Stroud. A lot of people's biggest issue with Bryce Young is his size, right?
Right.
I look at Carolina Panthers history. I look at the Charlotte Hornets history. Petite dudes in the Carolinas do well.
That is true. That is true.
Like, we got Muggsy. We got Steve Smith. We've got D'Angelo Williams. Jonathan Stewart's not that tall either.
Right.
Miles Hartsfield wasn't that tall. Like, he was maybe my height before he got traded to the 49ers this offseason. So, honestly, we've done good. DJ Moore, not that tall. So, Anybody who's a Panthers fan who's griping about his size, get over it. Look at your sports history for the Carolinas. Please, 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 please. There's a big old dude who's in wrestling. Dom, go ahead and tell me who it is. From Denver, North Carolina. He's huge. He's mammoth. Can't remember his name. But I'm just not that worried about it because we I love this fight back and forth, you guys. That being said, in our second round, we picked up, we obviously needed another wide receiver. So when we drafted DJ Moore, and we drafted him pretty high, actually, about 3-4 years ago, we did it because Steve Smith, who is Carolina Panthers living legend, right, told us to. Then Steve told us to go ahead and grab Mingo also. So we grabbed Jonathan Mingo out of Ole Miss. His numbers have looked really good. He's not short, so that'll make up for Bryce being short. I really don't understand why everybody's so up in the arms about Bryce being short. It's like Matt Rule being upset about freaking hand size last year. Yes.
That's exactly what I was thinking, is that Kenny Pickett with his small hands.
What were you going to say?
And he ended up not being that terrible. So
they need something to talk about for especially quarterbacks. Like, remember, Drew Brees was going to be a bust because he was too short, right? Like that.
Yeah.
That turned out okay. Though I will tell you, arguably, the two most successful quarterbacks in Carolina Panther history, as far as taking those teams far,
were tall.
Kerry Collins was 6'5", and Jake Delhomme was 6'3", and Bryce Young's 5'10". But
wait, you're forgetting another quarterback.
I think that everybody has a bad. I think everybody has a bad taste in their mouth from Kyler Murray, and I don't think you can necessarily base what he's going to do compared to what Kyler Murray's done. And it's not that Kyler Murray's not extremely athletic, because to be that size and be where he's at, he had to be better than a lot to even make it there because of his size. But the NFL is evolving. They want more mobile quarterbacks. And so you don't necessarily need this giant of a man to be your QB and see over his linemen the way it used to be set up. So it's not exactly the same as it used to be. Like, you can still be successful and not be incredibly tall at that position.
And I feel like Kyler actually only gets a little bit of more of a bad rap now, is because actually a lot of people thought the Cardinals were going to be good last year. So
I didn't.
So then when things went south, then it becomes more of a negative, where they actually had some things going in their direction where, and I'm not saying that anybody picked them to win, the Super Bowl or anything, but at least to win more than 4 or 5 games, but
right. No, I kind of thought they were going to be that bad. I'm going to be honest. Now, I thought the Seahawks were going to be worse than them, and so I was absolutely wrong about that. But,
I agree. Agreed. I was wrong about that too.
This is what I was going to
remember.
The
AFC West was supposed to be the division to watch, and it ended up being the NFC East.
Yeah,
they went from the least to the most competitive division.
Right. Because there are some people, they won't admit it now, but there were some, and even not even some, a lot of people who picked Kansas City to finish last in the AFC West before last season. Of course, they won't admit that now. But if you rewind the tape, they were out there. Because everybody.
You know what, Steve? I love that you said that, because there was some moments that Carrie had to defend her team like those things weren't said, and they absolutely were.
No, they absolutely
coincidence. I love that.
They absolutely were said.
I will correct you on one thing, Steve. There's another quarterback you forgot that took us a lot further than Kerry Collins ever did.
True that.
Kerry Collins took them to the AFC Championship game.
Again,
yeah, but you forgot.
You're forgetting.
Cam took them to the Super Bowl.
I did say Cam. I said Cam after the second. I did say Cam.
Okay, I didn't hear you.
Cam.
Because Cam is the one who won us 3 NFC South championships back to back to back. We were the first team in the NFC South.
Yes. Who also is a large human being.
He is.
Yeah.
I was face to face with him one day at Starbucks.
How'd you get face to face?
Face to waist.
Did you stand up on?
No.
Okay. I was like, how did you get that tall?
He needed the door open for me, and he leaned across.
Not touching that one. Not touching that one.
I was
she climbed up on top of the tables and was talking to Cam.
So I'm actually also really excited about our edge rusher, DJ Johnson out of Oregon.
That was a good pick.
Yes, Tom, I'm gonna name him again. A la Jonathan Stewart, piano man, and no, his ankle's fine. Thank you. Oregon's done us well. Oregon has treated us well. So I'm excited to have him join. We also have Chandler Zavala, who actually is from NC State, and everybody's all excited because our first round draft pick last year, Akeem Ekwonu, they played together. So as soon as we drafted him, Akeem was all over Twitter, like all over social media going like, yeah, that's my man, that's my brother. So they're really excited. I'm also kind of excited about Jamie Robinson. I listened to his press conference, and I will say this. I really want to send Bryce and Jamie to Toastmasters because they have a lot of double clutches and ums and ahs. And I know it was nerves, but I really want to send them to Toastmasters. However, I'm really excited because Jamie was also the first one to sign his rookie contract. He signed that earlier today. And he is just so excited to be with us. And, I love it. I'm actually really excited about this. You ladies know my trepidation. You guys, ladies and Katie, know about one of the guys we picked. But after listening to the press conference, and I listened to all of the press conferences, but I was really excited. And also the quarterback last year, Matt Corral, had the number 9. And yeah, you two know this. I was very in my feels when I thought we were giving the number 1 jersey away.
Right.
I was not a fan.
But no, as you should be. You know what I mean? Cam did so much for y'all's franchise. I mean, so as you should be. I'm not saying like, it's now,
but there's still sentimental feelings.
For sure. No, for sure. I get it.
So I'm just excited. And Matt Corral graciously gave up the number 9. But he's also excited because he's going to be getting his number 2. So, okay. And that number 2 is what he played in college. And this is a random one, but I'm excited to see what the Colts do and with who they drafted and what the Bears do. Jacob Christner, if your Bears don't treat my man DJ well, I'm coming after you. I'm coming to Atlanta so you can get your Bears in and back in line. I couldn't think of the word. Hello, Double Clutch. Jennifer, thank you very much. And to you, Miss Carrie Johnson.
Okay, so we stayed true with the theme of the Chiefs with another hyphenated draft or hyphenated football player. I think that's awesome. The team with all the hyphens. But the cool thing about Felix and Duike Uzama, so I've really messed that up and life will go on. He is a hometown kid. So it's like he grew up in Lee Summit. He went to college at K-State, and now he's full circle. And today, I think it was yesterday or today, they shared off the Chiefs page a picture of him when he was a little kiddo on Arrowhead, and then the day that he went, and then a picture from the day he went to sign, to show up for the first time. And it's like he was meant, the thing is he was meant to be here all along, which is pretty cool.
Right.
Did a lot of people that were close to the KC area, so that's an interesting theme that we saw in several teams, back to the Cowboys with staying with hometown or regional area people. I wasn't off with who we would be getting for the as a tackle for the offense, OT, because we did go back to the Sooners where we got Creed. I picked the wrong person, so I'm really kind of glad that we have that connection with Creed and Oklahoma Sooners, although I'm not an Oklahoma fan, so we'll just put that out there.
I just want to say this real quick.
Go ahead. Yeah, I mean, it's anyone but Oklahoma. So there's in Nebraska. Well, no, Oklahoma and Nebraska. You can't root for either one of those teams. But I digress.
You will always root against Nebraska until they get a new head coach. I'm just saying, that's you ladies being solidarity for me.
I won't root for Nebraska ever, but that's okay. It doesn't matter who they come.
It's never OU.
It's never.
I will agree with that.
So I was really pleased. I'll be interested to see because we are we draft 6th, 7th, and 8th round. 6th and 7th round people that really step up to the point that Sky Morris and Pacheco are being kept. We are not extending or offering or picking up the 5th year for CEH, but he didn't even show up to the Super Bowl parade, so he's already off my book. I'm like, wipe you away.
Can I interrupt you real quick?
Absolutely.
Hey, Dom, let's make that instead of purgatory, rolatory, okay? Because until they get rid of Errol
Right.
and his coaching sense ass, then they ain't doing anything. And that makes me sad.
I just want to say, Walter, you cracked me up calling us the Big 15. Hey, we've been the Big 11 for a minute, but yeah, soon to be the Big 15.
So, to follow up with Steve, last year we weren't supposed to even be in the playoffs.
Yep.
We were
Right.
a wild card at best. So this damn wild card team played havoc across the entire league. And thank you very much. We are champions.
Yep.
But that's just a shout out and me looking at those out there that said we weren't anything. So I got you in my side. I know what you said.
Yep. And then they quick flip it to, oh, well, they're just not fair. They're a dynasty. They're just not fair. They're so stacked. I'm like,
Right,
you just
yeah.
said they weren't going to make the playoffs, and then you switch it. Right.
Right.
So, no, we
You
remember. We
cannot
remember.
say
We got you. We got your back. We remember. We remember.
I love
not
that you
gonna
brought that up.
Well, you two, you have no idea, Steve, how much that makes me happy. But you cannot tell us that we were only Tyreek
Yep.
and then say, well, you were stacked. I
Yeah.
got your big BS bottle here, and I've got you on my list. I take receipts that way.
I love it.
Oh, Tom, I will agree with you.
Love it.
Right.
Right, we're
Yeah,
never a
exactly.
contender. Dom, I got you too, buddy. I got you.
You're so true, Tyler.
Oh my God, Tyler, you are so right. There is
100% right,
cities.
Tyler.
There is Lincoln at one end and Omaha on the other end, and there is nothing else in between. Nebraska
I was
is the
driving
worst.
through Kansas.
Nebraska is the worst.
Kansas and Nebraska are the same. They stretch as the farther you get into them, the bigger they become, the longer it is to get out of their state.
Yep. I had to drive through both of them to get
I'm
to
like
Utah.
Louisiana in that respect, and I'm not being mean.
Yep. Quick story. Had to drive into both of them to get to Utah in 2003 when my Chippewa CMU made the NCAA tournament. They were playing in Salt Lake City. Oh my God, that drive took forever. Oh, those states are the worst.
I was driving
Y'all have no
solo-
idea what it's like to drive across Texas.
I was driving through
I
Nebraska
mean, if
by
you're going
myself,
north to
and I
south and
counted.
east to west, then yeah, Megan.
I started counting
North to
fence
south.
posts and tumbleweeds because I had to entertain myself somehow. That was through Nebraska.
At least
So
there's
you
cool-
know how we
At least there's cool states in Texas, Megan. Like you still have Austin, you still have Houston, San Antonio. Like you still have
Nebraska has
options.
two
You
cities.
still have options. Nebraska's
Right.
got nothing.
shut up, Dom. I know what the problem is. I know Jerry's the problem. Anyway, so we know how we like to end on a happy topic. And so
Yes.
we want to talk about how happy we are that the WNBA season is coming and that we get to see BG on the court again. So excited to see BG back on the court. Now, you were likely going to see her Thursday, but the Kraken has a home game. So we will not see them in the preseason game that particular day. It might be Friday instead. Or no, it was scheduled for Tuesday, excuse me. So May 9th. So we'll see when that happens because
next
obviously
Tuesday,
they have to play the Storm. So we'll see what that happens when we see BG back on the court. But just a little reminder of what she does on the court when she's there, when she's available. She averaged 20.5 points, 9.5 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 1.9 blocks in about 33 minutes of play while shooting 57.5% from the field and 84.6 from the free throw line. So this is somebody that we're talking about. Yeah, that was her average in the 2021 season. So can't wait to see her back on the court. Got to see her at the Met Gala last night, her and her wife as well. Just happy to see her with a smile on her face. And I got to say, I love the new hairdo. I think it looks really good on her. I think it makes her look a little bit younger. And I think it looks great on her. And just, what a great smile. Glad to see her home.
Yeah.
It's a genuine smile. Like I had pictures of she and Sherelle up on my second screen monitor, and I love it. Oh,
right. Yeah.
Steve, you were saying something before we went live about the Aces?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Real
I was going
quick.
to say,
Yeah, just real quick. Let me quickly just say
real
about BG. Yes, obviously, super excited for BG to be back. I think we should give her at least a little bit of leeway.
Yeah, I don't expect her to be at those numbers right away.
Yeah, like for a little bit, just because of everything that she's going through. And I also love because you know, I'm a big fan of DT. I'm a big Diana Taurasi fan, and
I loved that comment the other day.
Yeah, with Brittany calling her a fossil. I mean, that's just awesome. I loved it. It was outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean, and I will say it. And yes, I just said I'm a big DT fan, and obviously I'm going to root for Brittany and Stanley Cunningham and some other players. I'm kind of looking forward to watching Phoenix this year. Like,
right, I mean, because last year was a little rough. It was rough.
Like last year was a little rough. But I'm like, I'm kind of. I mean, if you got the GOAT and you got VG, you know, you got yourself a shot. But But yes, so speaking of another, I mean, they're all obviously amazing athletes and deserve their credit. But Candace Parker made a mention about how in all of her years in the WNBA, she has never had a locker. She has never had a practice facility all of her own where she could shoot whenever she wanted to, whatever. Well, Las Vegas stepped up in a big old way. Oh, Dom. Oh, Dom.
Y'all took over the Jared Goff contract. Shut up.
Yeah. Dom, you're a Lions fan. You've won one playoff game since 1957. Shut the F up. You can literally say nothing ever. Ever. Anyway, so, yeah, the Aces showed up in a big way. If you haven't seen the pictures of the Las Vegas Aces, only the first WNBA only exclusive practice facility, go check it out. It's amazing. It's a great step for the league. It's unfortunate that it had to take so long, but hey, any progress is good progress, and let's keep moving forward. But just awesome job that it's happening, and I think, and I know you guys have talked about this, but obviously, with the success from the women's college March Madness, which was 15 to 20 times better than the men's tournament, that momentum needs to continue, and hopefully it will continue in the WNBA. Obviously, we're about a year away from, Caitlin and Angel and Haley and all, really making it, but we still have a whole lot of nice young players coming in, plus a whole lot of really good players and great players, some of whom have joined forces a little bit, and that makes it fun, especially early on. And
so fun.
When there's not that many teams, you really do need that villain, if you will. I mean, what UConn women used to be, right? Like, where it's UConn versus the field. Like right now, it's Las Vegas versus the field. But everybody else is gonna be like, "Whoa, not so fast. Let's watch. Let's let this play out."
Oh man, I cannot wait. Like I had a chance to do media this week so far for because everybody reported to camp, so been watching the Wings and what they have going on. And while I think everybody kind of obviously we're talking New York, we're talking Vegas, and might be talking about the Mercury too, because like you say, with DT and BG, you got a chance. And out of those three, you're thinking like, okay, so that's who everybody's going to be talking about. I think Dallas is right there at number 4, if we're being honest. Like, I'm going through our roster, and it's like, man, the ones that are going to get cut are still pretty good. Like, we got Diamond DeShields, who is a champion. We got Natasha Howard, who is a 2-time champion. We got Enrique. We got Satu Sabali, who just won a Euro championship with Breanna Stewart, who also just won another. If you want to talk about the winningest person ever,
these two. Yeah,
Breanna's on her way to doing it. She's definitely on her way to doing it. So super excited for the WNBA season. The Dallas Wings' first preseason game will be this Friday versus the Chicago Sky in College Park there at Arlington, at UT Arlington. So excited to see that happen. And if you need to figure out a way to watch their games, I know WNBA has their own league pass. If you're not a part of the Bally system, which is probably going to go under pretty soon.
Megan, I have to say, I love that you totally just went into radio voice.
Oh, well.
I loved it. Sorry.
And Tyler, I want to talk about your team.
Didn't the Aces get better after Liz Chamberlain left and went to LA?
It's Cam-Bage, but absolutely.
Okay,
And because she's an amazing talent. She is very beautiful, but she's a little bit of a head case. So but also the way
that girls are.
But I think the way they.
I didn't say it.
Look at Dom.
But right. So the Sky Tyler, I want to say that I think that y'all have a huge pickup in Courtney Williams. Like, I'm super excited to see how that works out for you guys. She had some issues there in Atlanta, as we know, and it was off the court. It wasn't involved with the team, but she ended up getting cut from the team and went and played for Athletes Unlimited. Had an amazing season series there with Athletes Unlimited. Got picked up by the Liberty and did really well over there in New York also. So while don't get me wrong, I mean, when you got a chance to go for Breanna Stewart, you go for it. You make the room for it. So it's not a knock to Courtney, but the year that I actually got to cover,
she was involved in that off the court incident.
Yeah, they beat some people up at a food truck. That's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, sorry.
What? Was the food that good at the food truck?
Hey, shout out to my girl Crystal Bradford.
You know what?
My girl Crystal Bradford, who went to Central Michigan. Love you, Crystal. I got your back.
Oh yeah. She's one of them too. I don't know. I think it's just one of those you can't talk mess. Right. You can't talk mess to everybody. And now I don't condone what they did, but when you talk to an athlete like they're not a human being, I mean,
hey,
and I don't. But and people give athletes a hard time. Like some people have said that. I'm speaking locally because it's what I know. Okay. So, like, some people have said X, Y, and Z player, including one of my direct next door neighbors who, after he went to the Vikings, I don't know where he went, was really rude. Well, you're interrupting him on a first date. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, like, give the guy some space.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a whole other show, right? How do you properly go up to someone? And how do you not properly go up to someone? Like, you can do it very easily. I'm a wrestling fan. I saw Seth Rollins. If you follow WWE, I saw Seth Rollins at the Renaissance in Detroit. I was there for my daughter's dance competition, and I look over. I was like, "That's freaking Rollins." Yes, Tyler, you did draft Lou Nichols, the leading rusher in NCAA football, not this past year, but the year before. You got a great draft pick. Anyway. So I saw Seth Rollins, and I'm like looking over. I was like, "That's Seth Rollins." He's just standing there in line, at the Renaissance, waiting to check into his room. And very politely, just went up to him. "Hey, sorry, don't want to bother you. But let you know, really big fan. If it's not too much trouble, I appreciate a picture." And he's like, "Yeah, that's fine." So I took a picture with him. And then left him alone. Like, I didn't follow him around the rest of the day. Like, just, I don't want to bother you. But yeah, like if someone's, and in fact, same way. So I'm working at Central Michigan basketball camp, and Kid Rock gets out of his car, and he's bringing his son to the camp. And I actually took a picture of Kid Rock and his son's friend and his, friend's dad in front of CMU before we went in. And just said, "Hey, yeah, we're going to work hard. We're going to have a good weekend, blah, 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 whatever. Have a good day." And then walked away. And with his son, and this is years and years and years ago. And, that like the rest of the week, that was I heard, was Chris Rock here? And then I was like, "No." And I look at his son and like wink or whatever. Because like at that time, and I wasn't a dad yet then, now I am. So I understand it. At that time, all he's doing is being a dad, dropping his kid off at camp. And he should still be allowed. He should still be allowed to do that, right? Like, it's one thing if you paid $40 for a meet and greet, and the dude acts like a D-bag to you. Like, that's another thing,
right?
But
if
if
you're
in,
waiting at the men's line to pee, and you try to ask him for his autograph, then he could probably be a dill hole to you. Like,
and he could probably pee on your shoe.
Yeah, like it's where and how you do it, So,
well, it's like there was one time. My dad went to high school, and they were like high school, college best friends with the former VP of communications for the Panthers. Okay. So this was in 2000, not 15, 2000, and I forgot what year. But I was
the years
getting
all
an
go together
autograph.
at this point.
So Charlie was helping me get an autograph football for my dad from all the players. And I'm walking behind to go into the administrative offices. I see Steve Smith carrying his baby at that point. Baby's now like 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all I wanted to do was run up and be like, oh my God, I love you. He's carrying his son. Yes, he is in public. Yes, he is at the Carolina Panthers facility. I could go up and talk to him. He's with his kid. No.
Right. Yeah.
No. But when he's walking down the hall in my apartment complex, y'all better believe my husband will make me.
Right. Yeah. No, it's a little different. Tyler, we appreciate you watching. We're about to end the show
thank
anyway.
you.
We went over a little bit.
Yeah,
Thank
Emily,
you
how
guys
do
for.
Sorry, Megan.
Thank you for. No, you're fine. Thank you guys for watching, commenting, sharing. Really appreciated all of the comments today. We love when you guys are interactive with us as well. Hope that you enjoyed the NFL draft and that your team addressed all the needs that you had. As long as you are only good enough to lose to the Cowboys. Hope y'all have a great night.
And yes, Dom, that makes me happy because Dylan Brooks couldn't even finish his own fight. He couldn't get his own daddy to finish his fight. He had to get Jaws' daddy to finish his fight with Shannon Sharp. Just saying. Good night, you guys.
And I just want to say thank you so much for having me, guys. Thank you.
Of
Thanks
course.
for coming on, Steve.